Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
We are just having internet difficulties, so hopefully the GoToWebinar is going to be fine with the internet. The live streaming is not working so well. So those of you that are with us on GoToWebinar, you will get the value live and you can ask the questions live. But everyone else is just going to have to wait for the recording because internet is very limited. As I say always, you never know. You can promise people stuff, but it may not come through. So can we just make sure, I'm breaking up a little bit from Trish, but can hear me. I don't know if we're actually, I'm actually going to turn off the live stream just in case it's making the internet, the bandwidth a bit smaller as well. Francesca's trying to go live with her on her Francesca Moi, the Meetup Queen. So I think maybe we will be live on that particular page. Here you go, sis. There you go. Yay. Awesome. Okay, so how this morning is going to go. So let me just show you. I've just only got one slide. There we are. This was, switch this off?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. There we go.
Yeah.
So this morning, this was from a picture from the last Brand Accelerator Masterclass, and the reason she's here next to me in Melbourne is because tomorrow and Wednesday we're hosting the next one.
Yay!
And she often helps me, but of course speaks as well on the topic of bums on seats, and that's why we have got this morning just a very casual, unprepared Q&A that we want to answer all of your burning questions. If you're not interacting with us, we will answer the most common things that people normally ask us on their journey to running successful events.
Yeah, also we got some questions from the webinar we did the other day, the smashing webinar that was overbooked, fully booked,
yes.
flooding booked.
Yes.
And we got a lot of questions that we didn't have time to answer, so we might start with those ones.
Yeah, absolutely. So so anything that you find is a challenge at events, you can post it in the questions box. Anything that you're not sure of when it comes to running events, post a question on that. Really anything goes. You guys know that collectively Francesca and myself have done probably a million networking events.
Yeah.
Half-day events, which are like sort of a low-cost half-day event. Probably we've done collectively about 150 to 200 of them over the last 8 years. And then, of course, our high, probably more over.
Yeah, you're doing 100 this year.
yeah, but that's a mixture. And then, I've done, about to do my 12th retreat and webinars. I can't even count how many webinars I've been on already. So let's go with that. So maybe I will ask you this because you're the queen at this. A lot of people come up with the question of finding venues.
Yeah.
I've never been as able to negotiate the sweet deals that Francesca does. So what is it that you do that that gets you like sometimes even free venues and all that sort of stuff?
So the thing with venue is, again, understanding what do they need. So what do they want? They usually want promotion, they want marketing, they want more clients, more bums on seat at their venue. So it's understanding what is that they're missing on their venue and trying to give it to them. So there's a difference between saying, oh, I need one venue for one time only and see how we go. It's not appealing to them. But if you say, I've got the next 12 months booked in, I've got 12 events coming up, every time we're expecting 20 to 50 people, that's more appealing, and they're going to go, oh, okay, so you're going to book the whole 12 months with me? I'm like, yeah, of course. We're looking for a venue to sponsor us, and that way they're going to feel like they want to be part of it.
Yeah, and I think also getting people to the venue is a benefit to them because if more people go there and check out their food and their drinks or whatever it is, they're more likely to go there outside of the event and casually attend, and I think that's super powerful.
And it's very important to let them know how many people you got in your network, how many people you're going to promote it to. So usually to have around 50 people there, you want to promote it to at least 500 to get that. So so they will definitely be interested in making a deal with you. And if they're not, move on and find another venue.
Yeah,
I can promise you that there's a lot of venue out there that really need our help.
The one thing just with venues is you got to spend the time to actually ring up and talk to people,
Yes.
and physically go and check them out if that is possible. Sometimes it's not if you're doing events interstate,
Yes.
but you can get them to send you pictures, or even go there and do a live stream with you,
Yes.
you know, and show you around the room and all that sort of stuff. There's so much technology nowadays. I know Stuart went out to the 3 or 4 conference centres recently to check out where we're going to host our next retreat, because we didn't have a venue for that one. So certainly it is just a time-consuming task, but you can find great deals. Also, what you can do around venues is ask people in groups. Do they know a good venue? You know, where are they? Have they used it? And all that sort of stuff. So that's a really good shortcut. To really shortcut, I guess, the chasing around and looking for places. And, of course, once you find them, which I now, after 6 years of running events, I've got my favourites in every city. And sometimes I change due to availability, and sometimes I want to check out a different area. So that's an important one to note as well. Where is the if it's not convenient for a lot of people, or not in a good part of the city, or whatever it is, then you're going to have lower numbers than otherwise.
Yes.
Yeah, and parking is important.
Yes, it's very important as well. And that's what Natasha was saying. You know, sometimes when you need to find a venue interstate, it might be harder than in your own town. So absolutely, Facebook is super important. But then also have a look at the people of influence, where they're running the events.
Yes.
What venue are they using? Go to Meetup and check out where are the meetups run in that city, and go and check them out. And when you're there, go and talk to the manager and say, hey, I love this venue. I love this event that you've got here tonight. I'm running also events, and then plan the big picture, not just one event at a time.
Yeah, exactly. You got to plan the whole year. I mean, we sat down yesterday when she arrived, and I think when we did the little live stream in the group yesterday, is we looked at our calendars. And we didn't really plan this year too well, because she can't make it out to some of my events.
I am missing out. I've got FOMO fear.
Yeah, so people that you collaborate with, like myself and Francesca, who's in a different city, like we said, okay, for next year, we're going to sit down and really plan when everything is. So she can block out a number of days or a week when she will be in Melbourne, but then she'll be able to execute 7 to 10 events in that one space of a week, and have the most opportunities to make the most out of her travel. And I think that's what I spoke about the other day on the webinar, is blocking up and clustering opportunities interstate. So the travel that you're doing, not only is it valuable, you're doing more things to expose yourself, but you're getting more bang for your buck, as well as doing it at the same time. So you don't have to go back to the same place, 5 or 6 times. You only need to go once or twice a year, as I do.
Yes, absolutely. So Natasha, you're super organized. You got your travel plan, and then also that gives scarcity as a speaker as well. If I'm here all the time, if I'm people assume, oh yes, she'll come back in a few months. But Natasha goes, no, I'm only in Brisbane twice a year, and if you want to see me, you gotta lock me up. Lock me in. In advance, and that really gives that perception as well of person of influence. So that's really important. But what you do as well is I really admire your collaboration, and you started to make a lot of collaboration overseas as well. Are they helping you to fill events over here?
So something that's happened recently is someone that I was a guest on a podcast from the US came back to me and said, hey, Nat, would you like to be like a case study for one of his new programs that he's developing? And it's about getting media in big name media outlets over in America. Wow. And I said, yeah, I'd love to be. What is it that I need to do? And I got interviewed. And this is my exposure before I go to the US next year. But a lot of those kind of opportunities are more online. So these are like more when you're swapping. We call them webinar swaps, if you like. Well, you may not call it that. It might be something else that you end up doing for the person. But once you get to know each other, or other people that you trust recommend to connect with someone else, then you can do awesome things to cross-promote and then grow your database and your exposure for the global community, if you like.
Yeah,
so I've had collaborations in Italy, heaps in the US, other parts of Australia, and Germany. Gosh, I can't even remember anymore. But yeah, what's important in those cases though is that you do have an online offering or a funnel, because obviously people won't be able to come and physically see you.
Yeah.
So what are your questions, guys? Is there anything that we've just said currently that is sort of can you go into more detail there? And while I'm waiting for any comments or questions up here, I want to ask Francesca, what is your biggest challenge when you think about running events? Like, what's your biggest challenge when you started out, brand new, and then the biggest challenge of right now, like that you're a year and a half almost, or nearly 2 in?
Yeah. So at the beginning, I think one of the biggest fear was, would anyone actually show up?
Yeah, same.
It's always so daunting, and I think it's really matching your own value and your own self-worth. You're thinking, will people really take time off to come and see me at my event? I don't know if I'm going to give any value. I don't know if it's going to be worth it for them. So I think it's like you're really doubting that people are actually going to show up. And the other thing is, on the night is sort of like, I think for me, the biggest one was public speaking. I was so afraid of talking in front of people that it would really like freak me out. And it took me a while. But I was very lucky because I am an extrovert. I just didn't think my English was good enough to talk in public. But then I think I overcome that just by repetition. Repetition is really key. One of the challenges that I would have now is more, I would say, time to promote it because I've got 12, sometimes 13 events a month. It's like, oh, another event. So sort of like the promotion is just like getting that across. But now I started to do email marketing, as you've been suggesting to me for a while, but I didn't have a chance to do it until now that I'm a little bit more organized, and that's really helping a lot, putting bums on seat as well. And as you know, I don't do my marketing anymore. I outsource it to my team. So it was very scary. Nobody does marketing as good as you do. So it was really scary to teach it to my girls, but they're doing an amazing job because we get fully booked events anyway. So it's really cool.
Trish is saying, that's my biggest thought. Anyone going to come? So a similar thing. I think, similar thing. Always like, who am I going to invite? Who knows of me? How many people can I tell? How are they going to see value in my event? But you just have to start, and you got to turn up and do it for no matter how many numbers you have. Recently, you guys may have seen me go over to Hobart, and I literally, I had 7 people in the room, but I had two or three of them were my authors, like who came back to see me, or one that's coming up to my August retreat now. So really, participants who never heard of me, there was only 4 of them. And that's okay because we set the room up so that we have more of a cozy boardroom kind of style. It wasn't like theatre style when I get the numbers of 35, 40 people in the room. We had a really workshopy type day. You just can't underestimate the size of the group. No. Often in the smallest groups, and that's, often we run events here in our home, in our training room here fits 10 to 12 people. It is those groups that actually can reap the biggest conversion and the biggest connection that you have with people. So don't worry about it. Just I think how we can reframe it, rather than framing it in our mind, oh my God, this is going to look so bad. These people are going to think, I'm not, worth or whatever. Just say, oh my God, how blessed are they that actually they're going to have me one-on-one or almost one-on-one or in such a small capacity, and I'm going to get to know them really deep, and I'm going to be able to help them. So as long as you know you can help people in whatever you're bringing as your event or your topic, then you just frame it that way and go and do it. And you never, never, never cancel or delay an event. That's one of our Bums on Seats mastermind oaths. We have an oath here because I run a year-long mastermind program at my house, and the first thing we do is we say our 5 steps in the oath, and the first step is you never cancel or delay an event, never, because the minute you start doing that, you start looking wishy-washy to other people, but also you're not committed, and that event's unlikely going to happen, and possibly 4 to 6 months would have gone by before that event happens.
Yes, absolutely.
Trish is just saying, I turn up ready to give 200% regardless of numbers and have fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's super fun.
It is super important, and that's the thing. Like, a lot of the time, people are afraid that nobody's gonna show up. But
yeah,
I run events with one person as well.
Yes.
And it was 100% conversion.
yeah. Yeah, that's the highest conversion you can possibly get.
And seriously, that person gets a lot of value from it because it's just one-on-one. We've got a question.
Yeah. Do you think about the ROI if you're flying into another city and you only have one person? Yeah, you do think about it. Actually, I had no return on investment from Hobart yet. We probably spent $1,500 in advertising, obviously flights, accommodation, meals, and all that. But I was probably good $2,500 out of pocket, and yeah, nothing actually eventuated yet. Who knows? I mean, often I will look at immediate results, and then just the later ones can be a bonus. But when you look at the bigger scheme in a year of what happens over the other events that you go to, like when I was up in Queensland, and I came home with $250,000 worth of sales. Now that trip didn't cost not even close to what Hobart cost, because I was staying at Francesca's house, so I wasn't paying for accommodation.
Yeah.
You know, we're kind of
That's
eating.
What we do.
Supermarket. You know, we're buying stuff and cooking for ourselves, and so really that trip was 10 days rather than one night. And also I had done Facebook advertising on that as well. But then, yeah, you look at it that way. So you can't beat yourself up as to what the return on investment is just on one event. If it's not happening over 10 events or something and you're wasting a lot of money, then there's something not right.
Yeah, and also like when you go interstate, like when I started and I wanted to go to interstate, my mentor at the time was saying, no, it's too early. You're going to waste all this money. It's not going to be profitable for you. You need to make sure that you make your money back, your return on investment.
Yeah.
And I'm very happy that I didn't listen to him, because at the first actually event in Sydney, I had two wonderful people that came into my 2-day workshop, but it wasn't just that. That created the first leverage for the next event. And every time I go to the interstate, I make sure that I grab some speaking gigs to fill up my next trip. So every time, even if you don't convert anything, it will start to get your credibility and your perception also higher, because people go, oh wow, she's running events in Hobart and Sydney,
all over the country.
So I don't think sometimes you just have to think of the bigger picture instead of just...
Yeah, and go back to the people. I always revisit the people who've been at my previous few times at that city, because now I've done the round trips quite a few times, and I actually will email them out a message, hey, I'm coming back, and often will invite those that have been before for free to return and, come hang out or catch up, or if they want to get re-inspired in the same topic. It just depends what I'm running. And that way they actually, I said, if you know anyone that would be interested and you enjoyed it last time, here's a referral ticket. So I give them a little bit of a discounted ticket to offer to their community. And that's other ways that I get bums on seats over and above Facebook advertising. I would say that up until two years ago, all my bums on seats was from non-paying approaches, so non-paid advertising, just networks and collaborations. The last 2 years, it has swung more to the Facebook advertising. Why is that? So this is really key. When you start out doing events, you have got a warm network of some sort, and this is what Francesca also has found as well. A lot of people that she knew would come to her half day, and the first year was really easy to do all that without Facebook advertising. But once you run out of your warm network, it takes a little bit of time to warm other people up, okay? And this is where you get to a point where your business is getting quite busy, but you need to tap into and start bringing in cold people into your network, which may not immediately convert, but they will convert in the future, and they'll start to get to know you. And this is where I think this year I would say 70% have been from ads and 30% from just my own efforts. I still never drop my own efforts in terms of speaking gigs, asking people, collaboration relationships to get those other, the bonus bums and seats.
Yeah. And also like Facebook ads, sometimes people ask you to do return on investment, how much money you spend on ads, and I'm not really good with numbers, but what I can see and what I can hear from people, the feedback is, I saw your Facebook ad coming out a lot, and then I started to follow you like as a personal profile, and I friended you, and from there I saw your Facebook lives, and I loved it, and that's why I'm here.
Yeah, there's so many dots that need to be connected for someone to become an attendee in your seminar or in your retreat.
Yes.
And often we don't know. And I think Gerda's on the call listening.
Hi, Gerda.
Gerda's on the call, and for her and I, like, apparently I didn't know this. Gerda for me came out of the blue while I was on my holiday in Thailand. Yet she knows that you know each other.
Yes.
Yes. And then I apparently she had been following and watching some videos and a number of things before she reached out and said hi and then connected, and then I sent her some footage to watch, and then we eventually spoke, and then she's coming to the August retreat. So
exciting.
Yeah, exciting. So I just never underestimate any brand exposure. So last year I also did 3 high-end sponsorships that I've paid for, and those kind of things give the brand so much credibility and I guess standing in the marketplace that it is professional and that it is a brand that obviously is doing well as well. No one becomes a sponsor of something else unless they're doing well. And also when people see Facebook ads come up time and time and time up, that like I've been advertising now actively for 2 years, people say, I just can't get you out of my feed. You're always in my feed. And I said, well, ads, you can't get off your feed. You can hide me, but you can't hide the ads. But that's also when people see you pop up time and time again, what does it mean? If someone's paying for advertising, that means the business is successful and it's growing and it's worthwhile to invest in.
Yeah.
So that's something to consider. The exposure.
I always say to my clients that I imagine people's brain as like a big box, and we've got little boxes inside, and people is like according to the buying box.
The buying box.
To buy something, you need to tick a lot of boxes in that being buying box. Yeah. And it really happens like, credibility and trust, and do other people, like this person? Am I the only one that follow this person? Oh, they've got a following. Okay, well then tick. Do I trust them? Do I like them? There's so many ticks. Yeah. And I always look at my clients and see, why are you here? What boxes did I tick for you? And usually they should say credibility. I can see that your events are always full, and all the things that you're showing me, they tick all the boxes, and until I say, all right, I'm gonna come to your workshop. Teach me. How do you do it?
Yeah.
So I always think about why your clients will wanna come along to your event. What boxes do you need to tick for them to commit and buy a ticket?
Yeah, absolutely. I think everyone needs to go through a buying process or commitment process in their head. Some people are, as they say, instant convincers. Other people are many time convincers. So they've got so some have 1 box. Other people have 3 to 5 boxes, and other people have an unlimited amount of boxes. And they will really never make a decision.
And when they make it, they change their mind because they go, there's another 5 boxes that come up now.
Yeah, exactly. So sometimes if we're talking about return on investment, it can start off slow when you're starting to pay money for advertising yourself. But the more it turns up, the more people get to know you, like you, trust you, and eventuate as participants. I mean, you can't imagine how many people have come to my house and they said, I've been seeing this come up for the last 6 or 7 months, and finally I've decided to now come here.
Yeah, and you have to be consistent as well with your message. A lot of people don't give enough time for people to tick boxes, right? They do 2 events, 3 events. This doesn't work. That's not the way. No. Natasha and I have been doing this.
Well, this is why, we created the online program. This is why you've got your 2-day. This is why also tomorrow it's a great value add for my clients to do their 2-day, and also people from the community as well. I mean, we do an amazing thing. And most of all, why I made the Bums on Seats Mastermind a 12-month program, because so many people will go out and do 1 or 2, 3 events, maybe even keep going for about 6 months, and then they give up because it's all too hard. Yeah. Whereas most of the work lies in promotion. Yes. It lies in getting out there, getting known, and just doing the work
consistently,
hustling, and as we say, doing 10 different variations of promoting, whether you're doing it on Facebook, whether you're doing it through email marketing, whether you're doing it through speaking, whether you're doing it through a collaboration, through a webinar.
Yeah.
So how are you getting people in the room? So what are your 10 strategies or 10 actions that you're taking to reach out to people? You know, it could be just from pure from networking. If you don't have speaking gigs, that's how I got people in my rooms the first. I didn't have events like you did. I didn't host. I didn't get speaking gigs as often. I started to slowly. But just purely from turning up to 2 events a week, I would talk about my event that was coming up, or workshop, and that's how I would get and fill most of my rooms.
And you want to have like targets and say, okay, the event is in 4 weeks. All right, by 3 weeks before, I want to have at least 3 people booked in.
Yeah.
If you don't, then you're going to go into your 10 things and go, all right, what is it that I haven't done?
Yeah. A lot of people,
what else I can do?
They don't start promoting till 7 to 10 days to go, yet it's a 4 to 6 weeks process of leading into an event, and keep checking on your numbers. Yes. And keep, actioning different things. I think so much of my life, because all I do is run events now, I hardly work with anyone one-on-one, aside if I'm prepping my author or whatever. Yeah. But yeah, I would say this offers, like when I'm here, like just doing all the online strategies. So it's a mixture of online and offline stuff.
So for a workshop, you would say that it is a 4 weeks process, but it is true that most people buy the tickets last week.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that you can start promoting last week, because you need all these 3 weeks of showing them there's something coming up until they go, all right, it's next week, I'll buy.
Yeah, they've had 6 to 8 touch points with it until they make a decision. And you can promote, obviously, early bird prices and things like that to incentivize bookings.
Yeah. And that's when we talk about workshop that you invest a little bit more. For events, I've got my strategy that it is good to do an event every 10 days, because it's a low-end program, and you be in people's faces for 3 times in a month with events. So you give them a chance to come and see. But that's just for the low-end events.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah. Awesome, guys. So I know we're coming close to the 9:30, so we've got to just go through a couple of logistics around our UBS coffee chats that we normally do at the end. So as you've been seeing on this particular slide, we have done a 3-part online course, a free sample of our big online course. Yeah. You've got those codes there. I may as well just paste. I'll just paste them into our chat box here if you want to access them later on. So I'm just going to grab that. And then I'm going to tell you where the next UBS events are running. Maybe when I come up to Brisbane, we can do one up up there. We'll see. So that's what's on the slide there if you want to cut and paste it, because it won't stay here once we leave the call. The next thing is tomorrow are the Sydney and Adelaide events. So all the details are via those links. And Melbourne is happening on the 28th of July. And we're having Linda come and do the power of media and publicity as a topic for that particular event. So I've just posted all of the different links in there, which you can cut and paste out of there. And if by any chance you do want to join me and Francesca for the last a last minute decision for the 2 days, tomorrow and Wednesday, there is still probably about 3 to 5 spots in the room free. Got over 50 people coming, so it's going to be massive energy and excitement and lots of fun over the 2 days. So tickets are just $247 for the Brand Accelerator Masterclass.
For a whole 2 days.
And something that you may or may not be aware of, well, you won't be because we'll be announcing it over the 2 days, but the following one, which is on the 26th and the 27th of October, it is going to be niched, particularly on bums on seats. So you can do many. I teach about 10 different strategies over these 2 days that are sort of include bums on seats, but the next one we're niching specifically to go deep dive into bums on seats. So that one is 26th and 27th of October. Again, tickets are just $247. So if you do want to come along to that particular one, you need to send us a message, either private message us. But that particular link that you see here, you're welcome to use it and book a spot. and just tell me that you're coming to the October one rather than obviously the one tomorrow. So I'm just trying to. You'll share it in a minute. Okay, I'm just trying to cut and paste this one here in the chat box.
Mhm.
It's not working. Why not working? Okay, let's see if I can do that. All right, done. All right, and as always, I like to finish off with a quote. And my quote today, which I created a few months ago, is that the person that stands in front of thousands has also stood in front of one. So when you see people like Tony Robbins or me or Francesca speaking in front of many, many, many people, well, not thousands yet for us, but we're getting there.
We have.
We are. We're getting. Oh yes, collectively, yes, we've spoken in front of thousands.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But also, like I'm talking about the big conferences and seminars.
Yes.
The most I've spoken to all at once is 250.
I have not. I think my most one is 100.
Yeah, cool.
I think I was.
Yeah. So even to this day, 6 years later, I can have events that are small, tiny, intimate. Sometimes I choose for it to be that way. Sometimes I don't, and that's okay, because no matter what, bottom line is that you turn up and that you do it and that you practice your skills, because it's all ready in you for that event that's going to have 1,000 people.
Give.
Yeah, so have an amazing day today. We're off to a couple of networking events.
Yeah.
For one other, the Spotlighters group from Facebook as well. They're having a meetup nearby, so we're going to get ready, some logistics for tomorrow, and off we go. And then we're going to go to a launch in the city for a particular store, and then we're going to the Professional Speakers Association event. So thank you so much. Next week, guys, we are going to have a very super successful entrepreneur in Kat Laterzo as our coffee chat interview, back to sort of interview style next week. She's into her 7 figures of turnover, all mostly done online. And so check in for that one with more information, as I'll be posting it during the week. But we'll have a fun morning with her next week, and soon we'll be coming to you from Europe because we'll be spending 12 days in Europe together, but overall a month we're traveling together.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Thanks, Trish. Glad you enjoyed it. And we will post this up as a recording, as well as Francesca did do a live stream. So she might be able to post that into the group as well.
Yes, I will.
Yeah. Cool. See you guys. Have a great week. Yeah.